In this video, we're going to discuss the search report widget. It's a relatively simple widget, but fairly powerful, I'd say. We're going to talk about how to create one, what it is, and how to interact with the visualization. Let's go into the tool. It's the best place to see it. Okay, so first thing you need to know is that before you can interact with the search report, you actually need to run a search. So let's get a case up. Here's our grid. It's got 14,000 items. We're going to run a search we're going to just start with a simple Austin search. Austin's the name of my son. And we get 101 results to that. Now let's open up our search report widget. And we're going to go get search context report. And we wait here. It can take a little bit longer to actually get the search context report than it did to run the initial search. And that's because if your search, let's say, has 5,000 results, the context report is actually going to pull in all 5,000 results plus all of those hits. So it can be a very memory intensive report, and you should run it ideally when you have the results down to a sort of sub 1,000 record set. So the first thing to note here is you're going to have 101 items here. Let's close this so we get a little more real estate. And in this grid, you're going to have those same 101 items. Those same objects are all going to show up in this grid that were in the main grid. The way to read this report, and let's just look at this side of it at this point, is case ID, obviously, object ID, file name. Now, unfortunately, my data set has a huge number of documents with the exact same name and the exact same document. So normally you'd have different names here. Let me go down and find some variation. So here, it might normally look like this, where each file has a different name. You have the file type, obviously. Then you have the search term found. Now, I only searched for one term, Austin. So we know all documents will have the search term Austin in them. How many times those documents have the search term is here. Unique hits is not really a relevant column when you only searched on one, because the number will always be one. But let's say you searched on two things. Let's say Austin or Frank, for example. And if the document is reactive to your search because only Austin is in it, you'll have a 1 here. If both words are in it, you'll have a 2. And then keywords, we'll discuss those in a little bit. Excuse me, I apologize. So let me show you the excerpts now. When you click on a document in this grid, it will then bring up the excerpts here in this grid. This again shows you the document number it came from, the case it came from, the term, and then the context of that search hit. And this is a certain number of words before and after the search hit. And the number of words before and after the search hit is driven, by this configuration. We have 10, so we have 10 before, 10 after. If you have 5, it'd be 5 before, 5 after, and 2 before, 2 after. I always have it on the default is 10, and so that's just where I generally leave it. But let's see if we can. Well, we can just. I'm just going to try that. This is sort of a bit of a pain. I apologize for this, but trying to pull it out, I wanted to get to the Austin word. So there you go. But see, there's a bunch of words before, and then Austin, and then a bunch of words after. If you click on one that has 75, you see, boom, it fills up to 75, and so on and so forth. You kind of get the idea. It's pretty straightforward. That's the report. Let me run it with Austin or Frank. Let's rerun that. Okay, now we have 237 that are reactive. Let's close this and we'll get our search report. It says it's getting the report. And then we just gotta wait, results received. And it takes a little bit of time to process them, and I'll show you why in a few seconds here. But now Again, the same dynamic, the documents here and the hits here. But you can see in these documents it found both Austin and Frank, so the unique number is 2. And then if you scroll down, let's see if we can find one. See here somewhere the number is 1, right? So it just found Frank in this document. Let's see if there's one. I saw one. There's one where it only found Austin. So anyway, it allows you to sort of arrange your hit results based on, a relatively complex search term, and then make sense of why the documents are hitting. You can export all this stuff to Excel, easy peasy. In addition, the viewer will track this. So if you move in this, it will move here, and so on and so forth. All right, now let's talk visualization. Last but not least, I'm going to hide the excerpt because we don't need that. We're going to talk visualization here. Okay, this is where the keywords come in. The blue circle is all the search results, right? But then what it did is it went through, and based on the number of words before and after, and it looked through all the documents, and it suggested other search terms based on frequency of usage around your search term. So access data appeared close to either Austin or Frank with high frequency. So its circle is relatively big. Subject did the same. Abdes, this is a friend of mine for what it's worth, did the same. And you can so on and so forth. And then you can drill down even further. So within access data, the next important keyword would be highlighted within the yellow, in the red, and then so on and so forth. And you can interact with this. And anytime you click on something, it'll zoom in and it'll show you how many documents and what type of documents. And you can zoom back out by just clicking on it again and zooming out. So you can interact with it and see why the words were significant. You can also say, well, listen, Tim, that visualization is cool and all, but it's just fancy. I'm really just want to see the text of it. And you can start to look in here and you can see the 3 keywords found in this document. A lot of them are the same, and then you can see, okay, these are the keywords found in this document, based, again, just purely on frequency of usage. And so maybe that's useful, maybe not. Sometimes it actually generates really good insight that allows you to refine or change your search. Sometimes it doesn't do anything for you, but it is just an analysis tool to give you a better sense of your data set. All right, that's the visualization report. Hopefully that was helpful. Again, play with it as always, and you'll find a whole bunch of cool things about it. Thanks a lot. I hope that helped.